بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
The ancient Egyptian language hieroglyphics was the language used in ancient Egypt for thousands of years, although the knowledge of the hieroglyphics started diminishing from the 6th-5th century BCE and became completely extinct in the 4th century CE. The breakthrough in decipherment came only with the discovery of the Rosetta Stone dated 194 BCE by Napoleon's troops in 1799 during Napoleon's Egyptian invasion. As the stone presented a hieroglyphic and a demotic version of the same text in parallel with a Greek translation, plenty of material for falsifiable studies and translation was suddenly available. In the early 19th century, scholars such as Sylvestre de Sacy, Johann David Akerblad, and Thomas Young studied the inscriptions on the stone and were able to make some headway. Finally, Jean-François Champollion made the complete decipherment by the 1820s. In this post, we are going to look at some old pyramid texts and papyrus sheets written in hieroglyphics and compare it with a verse in the Quran. The ancient Egyptians used to mourn the death of the kings and pharaohs, as we find written on ancient texts. A text called the Rhine Papyrus, dated between 1550 and 1200 BCE, found near the memorial temple of Ramesses II, is one of those documents we are going to see. A part of the papyrus in the memory of a pharaoh, possibly Ramesses II or before, written to the god of death Osiris, reads, "Countries and regions weep for you, the zones weep for you, as if you were Sesheta, heaven and earth weep for you inasmuch as you are greater than the gods." The Songs of Isis and Nephthys, column 16. A similar writing is also found in a pyramid tablet. Mourning of Pharaoh reads, "The sky weeps for you, the earth trembles in mourning for you." 1365 C, utterance 553, resurrection, meal and ascension of the deceased king. We can see a phrase about the heaven, sky, and earth weeping, mourning in the memory of the pharaohs in these hieroglyph texts. We have already seen that the Pharaoh of Moses was a tyrant and arrogant man who was drowned by God as a punishment. The Quran mentions something similar to the above phrases in regards to the Pharaoh and his army.
فما بكت عليهم السماء والأرض وما كانوا منظرين.
We can see that the Quran quotes the ancient text phrases directly in its rebuttal of Egyptian ideolations of Pharaoh. It is worth noting that the Quranic text is identical to both the above texts, with slight variation can be observed in the latter one. But it's important to note that the hieroglyph language is based on symbols and not letters, which sometimes vary according to the context. So we can say that the Quran matches with both of them in its subject and quotation. The famous Egyptologist Jean-François Champollion wrote, "It is a complex system, writing figurative, symbolic, and phonetic all at once. In the same text, the same phrase, I would almost say in the same word." We just saw that the Quran literally quoted the ancient text in its narrative, a text whose language was long dead before the revelation of the Quran and was only deciphered 12 centuries later. How did the Quran get this information? How can an unlettered man know all of this? The Quran boldly describes its origin.
تنزيل الكتاب من الله العزيز العليم.